This is Fire Talk Radio Podcast, and you can check us out on firetalkradio.com. You can email us at firetalknetwork@gmail.com. You can send us a voicemail at 814-380-9820. You can always check us out live on YouTube and Rumble. Hit the like and subscribe button to find out when we go live, and subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting streaming platform. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Fire Talk Radio episode 73 will probably bring to you tonight. We are going to dig into Hunter Biden and his dealings there. We're going to talk about the U.S. Marine from New York City. We're going to look about what the effects of Title 42 is happening and the possible use of the 14th Amendment in the federal government. This and more on Fire Talk Radio.
I can only count to four. I can only count to four. I can only count to four. I can only count to.
Oh boy, it is episode 73 of Fire Talk Radio. I am Ryan, that is Jason. We are back this week. It's been a fucking week.
You're telling me. Wow. This is like the stress week from hell for me, but I passed my test.
I saw that.
So, according to the state of Michigan, I'm allowed to teach elementary kids science.
I mean, teach them Oobleck. Do Oobleck first and watch them make a mess of fucking everything. Because they're not it's not gonna wrap in their minds.
I did that
I remember
with my
learning
son. Yeah.
I remember learning Oobleck in 3rd grade. Fucking lost my mind, and kids and then smacking it, and then like put your hand on it, and then like fucking
It's like quicksand. Takes
this
it,
doesn't
yeah.
this doesn't compute.
Right. Yeah. The semi-solid. I did that with my son when I was homeschooling him, and he loved it. Yeah, we had a big dish, and man, he was playing that thing like it was the bongos or like a woman's ass, and I don't know. Who knows? But at least the state says I can teach it now, because obviously I didn't know enough before this week to be able to teach it.
No. I mean, science is a fun. Is always I always loved the sciences when I was a kid and growing up. And
Well, what's crazy about this test though is, it's supposed to cover like to be able to teach kindergarten through 6th grade.
okay,
They've got me answering questions that are about physics where I'm working with cosines and
yeah, I haven't done that since high school.
I know
I'm
I'm going why am I doing calculus for a 5th grade science class?
I was okay at math, but I was a genius in chemistry and physics.
Well, the chemistry part is the part that I think I did the worst on, because it wasn't
But
just
I was
like
not allowed.
chemistry and base. It was like these, this is the equation for this, chemical.
Yeah,
And, and it yields this. What is wrong with these two balanced equations? And I'm going,
I don't know.
I don't know. I have no idea where some of these numbers came from. And then I'm looking at the answers and going, I have no idea where that number came from. Oh, God, I don't know which answer is the right. Any, mini, miny. But I got enough correct to pass.
I was
all I
that
care.
student that I was not allowed to be left alone in the chemistry lab. So that was always interesting. Because chemistry for me when I was in high school was right after lunch. So I would go eat my lunch in the chemistry lab. And then
You don't eat in a chemistry lab.
I didn't have friends. I didn't really have friends in high school, so I didn't really care.
So you're saying you have friends now?
I have no friends now.
Okay.
Um,
Just as long as we're clear on.
we're
the
clear
timeline.
on that.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Fucking what happened then still partakes to now. I'm by myself. But yeah, I remember the one day I was working on something. I was working on an experiment for the science fair, and I took my eye off the fucking ball and almost blew up the fucking chemistry lab. Um, I was working on fucking weird story. I had an infatuation with Mega Man's leg gauntlets. This is like I was big on Iron Man and Mega Man because of the armor suits, how they did everything.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah.
So, long story short, I had worked on it. Our team, I was in a group of 4. We worked on a working model of wearable boots, and we were working on jump thrusters. And I was working on an alkaline-based nitro system for propulsion. Mind you, this is in the late 90s. Shit like this is just like my teacher didn't think we could accomplish it. We just had bigger brains than we had sense. And I moved the desk math equation and almost put too much nitrous in and blew us all up. Luckily, my teacher caught it before and told me I wasn't allowed to do math for that shit anymore. So that was just the end of my science. That was the end of it. So whatever.
Okay. Hey, you know what? To each their own, I guess. When it comes to science like that, I was never.
But if you ask me
like
to do that
science
now,
up until I like science up until the point that math becomes involved. Then, no, not that point forward.
I mean, it's not too bad. I mean, other than that, then, what else has happened this week? This week, I finally got to mow because it stopped raining, 2 days in a row with the sun out, so everything could dry out.
I'm hoping I can do it tomorrow.
It's
So
supposed to
I
rain
just
for
came
us tomorrow, so I'm not fucking happy about it. But luckily, I finished all my mowing.
I'm like the only house on the road that hasn't mowed their yard, and so last week I was going to do it, and I went to start my mower, and I'm like, and the battery's dead. So I have to hook the charger up, and then by the time the charger got done charging, it was raining. So
yeah, I do that. I had to do it. I usually have to do an annual oil change on it because I always like to keep fresh oil in it. But because I think it was like 3 years ago, my mower fucking exploded. It shot a piece of shrapnel out the mower. Luckily for me, the lawnmower was still under warranty. Under the motor was, so Briggs and Stratton had to send me a new motor, which was fantastic.
that's cool. I always wait until after the first time I mow for the spring to change my oil and change my oil filter. That way the oil, it hasn't been sitting like it went through and loosened up and stuff like that.
Oh no, I mean
so
I
that
let
it
it sit and run. I let everything get hot first before I do the oil change. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yard conversation with Jason and Ryan. This is
Right.
fantastic. All right.
Don't do what we do with our yards.
Right. Yeah. No. I was going to talk about Town Hall tonight, just so anybody asks. We're not going to do it because of YouTube, and I don't want to go to YouTube timeout. This
We
early
just
after getting out.
We just got out of jail. We just got out of jail.
My opinion on it is that CNN baited that whole conversation because she wouldn't shut the fuck up. And interjected her opinions on Town Hall.
I've been gone
CNN
for the last 3 days at camp with a bunch of fifth graders, so I have not seen it yet. So I'm hoping after the podcast tonight, I can find some YouTube videos that show it.
You'll find it better on Rumble than you'll.
Oh, that's right. That's a good point. Good point. I didn't
So-
even think about that.
All right. So tonight we got a weird packed one. So tonight we're going to talk about Hunter Biden again. because why the fuck not?
He's the gift that keeps on giving. I swear. We could run our whole podcast for the last year just off of Hunter Biden. And we would probably never run out of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, if we physically had a hold of his laptop, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of stuff on that laptop we couldn't show, but a lot of the documents and conversation pieces that can come from that laptop, absolutely. But speaking of all of it, so the GOP decided to come out Wednesday because we have to remember we're still waiting for the Arkansas courts to have Hunter Biden produce all financial documentation. And where did all this money? He has to basically account for every nickel and dime he has ever gotten.
Right. And so, like, okay, so I'm going to play this and then we're going to talk real quick about this. So this is from, you sent me this from
my
TikTok.
favorite two guys from their own show themselves.
Yeah.
Republicans today showing evidence of 17 LLCs created to run money, millions of dollars to foreign entities to 9 Biden family members. The Democrats say, well, there's no direct evidence of anyone walking into a bank and directly depositing it into Joe Biden's account.
No, but here's what's interesting. Hunter Biden, Biden's son, received 2 $100,000 payments from a Chinese company. This after President Biden said no one in my family's ever received money from China. That's a lie. Oh, and there's another interesting connection. When Biden was vice president, he met with the Romanian president. 5 weeks later, Hunter Biden's business buddy got a bunch of money from another Romanian. Connected? Coincidence? Who knows? But Hunter Biden was doing legal counseling for that Romanian who paid the business partner instead of paying Hunter Biden's law firm directly. I think there's another guy that's in trouble for something like that.
Donald Trump.
Yeah.
It's fair to say. Really, when the GOP, so during the GOP's announcement of Hunter Biden, they were also arresting George Santos, mind you, for crimes of financial crimes. And you know what? If you fucking did it, good fucking riddance. Goodbye.
If you do a legitimate crime, you need to get held accountable.
Yeah. I mean, doesn't matter if you are right or left. If you fucking did it, goodbye. So everybody else and their fucking mother was fucking talking about that moment. Fox News, literally, not even Newsmax, not OAN, we're talking about the GOP coming out with all of that evidence. So the only clip I'm gonna be is coming from Fox. So I'm sorry. So all I got. So it'll be fine.
I got more, so
You got another clip?
yes.
All right. If I can get through the ad here. Got a lot of ads.
So the whole thing is while we're going through all this is, yeah. So according to Politico, they're having a hard time, or people are saying, well, they can't connect it directly to Joe Biden. That's like saying they couldn't directly link any murders to Al Capone. And I think we've used this before.
Oh yeah, we've used that analogy.
Yes.
Because the whole thing is they couldn't get Al Capone as the head of the mafia, but they got him on tax evasion.
Right.
They got him. It is one thing or another somehow. So that's always been the case with.
And in all reality, the Bidens, and especially Joe Biden at the top of this ladder or pyramid or whatever you want to call it, is kind of like a mafia boss with all of this. he's the one that's benefiting to the point of millions of dollars in his bank account that somehow can't be tied to anything quote unquote foreign or anything like that. Yet somehow anytime the Biden name is used, he goes and talks to people and then cash gets dispensed to family members. And this is where when I say they have to follow the money, they have to follow every dime, exactly every transaction, every LLC, every DBA, everything, because they've got that thing hidden behind so many firewalls of corporations. And I think this Congress with Jim Jordan is going to do that.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about a lot of the events. Like, you have to remember, a lot of the events where, quote, a lot of these LLCs were going on is when Joe Biden was vice president, when he was in a better state of his own fucking mind. So, and then there are actual records of when Joe Biden was going to China. Hunter Biden was on Air Force 2. He's gone to Ukraine. Hunter Biden was on U.S. There is a pattern.
Right.
He may actually not be getting we haven't been able to prove it yet. And I'm going to say the word yet. That Joe Biden is getting money directly in some way, shape, or form. But the money is going to his family. And always. And with how
Biden
close
name,
that family is being used, it's either damned if you do, damned if you don't. Now I understand why that newest Biden grandchild, they don't want her to use that last name because
that name means money to them, literally.
Yeah. All right.
Because they have no shame. Republicans revealing explosive new info on how the Biden clan hoovered up $10 million in foreign cash from places like China and Romania. Hunter set up over 20 companies, 15 of which were done after dad became VP. Top Republican James Comer also identifying nine members of President Biden's family who got some of that dough, including some grandkids, not Hunter's love child, unfortunately.
While Vice President Biden was lecturing Romania on anti-corruption policies, in reality, he was a walking billboard for his son and family to collect money.
For years, the left has said no one is above the law. Well, put your money where your mouth is. The Biden family needs to answer for this. And the DOJ needs to get off its ass and investigate.
It's very hard to come up with any legitimate business reason to conduct transactions with in this type of complex way. This is simply not how legitimate business is conducted.
I mean, guys, you in the press, this is easy pickings. I'm giving you Pulitzer stuff here.
The White House said today that this was a political stunt. We're actually giving you a memorandum with evidence.
Suffice to say, and I love saying that, Joe's got some explaining to do, and answers like this aren't going to cut it anymore.
What is the real story of
God.
January 6th?
No.
I need your help.
Cash in on the family name because
Get to where
President Biden's family who got some of that dough, including some grandkids, not Hunter's love child, unfortunately.
You a memorandum with evidence.
Suffice to say, and I love saying that, Joe's got some explaining to do, and answers like this aren't going to cut it anymore.
Can you back into House GOP memo about your family dealing?
Family deal.
Hunter Biden's business associate sent over $1 million to free up their family members. Any reactions to that report?
That's not true.
Oh. All right. So, Jesse, you look at these business.
Gotta love it when he can just say that's not true.
That's
and
not. Yeah. He can't even look at the cameras or anything when he's doing it.
Absolutely. We said it last week. I still believe. I mean, that looked like Joe number one because his face looks like it's falling apart because of his age and all.
Well, so here's the thing. let's go back talking about Ukraine and the first impeachment of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
What was he impeached about? A phone
Donald
call.
Trump?
Yeah.
So yeah, he wanted to know why, because that clip had been resurfacing, it looks like, where Joe Biden was talking about, oh, I have $1 billion. You won't get it unless the district attorney's prosecutor's fired.
Is fired and basically replaced with the person I want.
Yeah. So
and then
they
said,
were like,
and he said, by damn or something like that, they did it. They did it for me.
well, because the guys from Ukraine said originally that he didn't have that power. He goes, Obama knows about it. So he's aware that has to be aware somehow that he said this.
Right.
While
he was vice president.
While he
in
was vice president.
2013.
And to withhold federal funding that was already passed by the federal government to allow them to have.
Right.
To get for a quid pro quo. So the quid pro quo for that Trump was doing was a phone call like, hey, what the fuck happened?
Yeah, I want you to investigate this. That's all he said is, we need you to investigate this because we need to know what happened. Like, why is this okay with you guys and you want more money? And that was the whole impeachment, was that phone call.
Well, that's what started it, and then it moved into the Steele dossier. But that's what fucking set that.
But they couldn't get him on anything from the Steele dossier. All they could get him on was that one phone call.
Mm-hmm.
And claiming it was a quid pro quo. Even though nowhere in there did he say, hey, I'm holding this ransom. You are not seeing a cent of it until, it was, basically, hey, you want this money. I want to give you this money, but I also want you guys to look into this.
Absolutely.
Now, he did it in Trumpian fashion, which seems more of more direct telling than an asking. But when you're at the power of the president, you don't just ask and, hey, I'd like you to just kind of look into this. I mean, that'd be nice. I mean, do me a favor. No, it was.
You do me a favor. Hey, I know I'm sending you money.
Right.
But I also want you to look at this and tell me what happened.
Right.
Explain to me what happened. That was the whole conversation, because we've all heard the fucking recording. They had no problem playing the goddamn recording.
And then they get like people that were like not even present or didn't even listen to the actual audio testifying that it sounded like he was threatening them and all this stuff. And you're going, you just said you didn't listen to it.
Right. But in this situation, it's a little bit different.
Right.
And I'm going to say because if this rabbit hole goes down the way it looks and they can prove basically Biden traded policy for foreign money, that's actually in our Constitution considered a treasonable offense.
Yes. That's a treasonous act.
And he will go to Gitmo. There won't be like federal president. There won't. No, he would go to Gitmo.
And that's one of the things that I haven't looked at it yet, but I've seen people write that during the Trump town hall that he was basically being stepped over the whole time by the reporter or
she
anchor
was.
or whatever she was.
She fucking
but that
was
he
cutting
said
him off.
when he goes in, he's going to take a look at all the people that are still in jail from January 6th and haven't been tried and all that stuff. But then also I thought he said, or at least according to other people, I have to watch the video myself, that he's going to look into all of these acts that have been going on with the Biden family.
Everything he's reviewing everything. That's all he said. He was like, I'm gonna look at everything. but he never really got into. He's going to allow Congress to do what Congress is supposed to do.
Okay. See, that's where I need to watch the video because, as you know, anytime you're reading it.
But he mainly
Yeah.
was with that scenario. He was mainly talking about January 6th. He was talking about the people that were arrested. He's looking at. They're asking him if they were going to pardon him. He said he was going to look at everybody a case by case situation if he becomes president again. Well, as Trump said, when he becomes president again. Because Trump believes Trump in his massive ego, and I will give him that. He for as much as he's done in his life, he's earned that ego. He can have that ego, and then fine, whatever. He believes he's going to beat Biden, and I would love to see debates. I understand Trump's not going to do the Republican debate. Why? He won't have to, like he did the last time.
No.
He only did like 2 or 3 the last time, and still fucking walked away with everything. So, I'm very disappointed that the Democratic side isn't going to do debates. I would love to see, because they're like, oh, we're going to stick with Biden. We're riding with Biden all the way to the end. You're going to do a fucking write him off the fucking cliff. That's what you're going to fucking do. Because that's the Democratic way, right?
Oh,
You're supposed to have those debates. But let's get back to Hunter Biden and these guys here and their comments. When we get to her in red, she's gonna fucking blunder herself.
And they offer no products or no services. Remember, they always compare it to Trump.
Yeah.
It's like their business, they were actual businesses, but there's no products, no services. It's just about hiding payments.
Yeah, you could like see a building that Trump built in the sky with their own eyes. Joe's like the guy that's walking around with cocaine all over his face, and you're like, you got something right here. And he's like, I've never touched this stuff. It's so obvious now, and the left is saying bribes are legal. Bribes are now legal. Foreign nationals, they can't donate to a politician's campaign. Foreign nationals can donate to a politician's family, and that's fine. This would be like Kamala Harris being put in charge of immigration, flying her family to Mexico.
Hang on. Bribes are legal now as long as it's being given to members of your family. Bribes are
Right.
legal.
That's basically what they're saying.
All right.
Yep.
I'm bribing a member of the Trump family. I don't know who. I don't know. Here's $20. I don't know.
I'm sorry to say, Trump's daughter's still kind of hot, so I don't think I have the money to bribe her, though. She would laugh at me.
Melania Trump popped out actual decent-looking children, yes.
Meeting with a bunch of Mexican officials, and then having a bunch of corrupt Mexican nationals wire millions of dollars to everybody in Kamala Harris's family. And then Kamala Harris's family trying to hide it from the IRS. And now the media is saying they didn't link Joe Biden to the scandal. Really? Joe Biden isn't linked to the Biden family bribe scandal at all? Really? He knows nothing about this? Then why did he leave a voicemail for his son explaining that he got away with it? You know, why did he fire the prosecutor? You know, why, when he becomes president, he shuts down the FBI China task force and then covers up the lab leak and then lets the balloon fly across the country? Why? You want more?
Yes.
What else do you want? This guy is a straight. Okay, so all of this money can go into every member of the Biden family bank accounts, but if a single dollar doesn't go into Joe's checking account, then it's clean. So you can just have foreign nationals bribing politicians' families, corrupt ones. Foreign nationals convicted of bribery, bribing the Biden family, but the media says Joe's clean? You have to be kidding me. The guy is a walking blackmail operation. The Department of Justice knows the dirt. The FBI knows the dirt. China has dirt on them. The whole world has dirt on the Bidens.
All right, pause it real
The
quick. real
world
quick,
has the.
That is the scariest part of all of this. Not just that he's being bribed for stuff, you know, hey, let's bribe you, take this money so that you can do this for us. No, it's that he's being blackmailed on top of that. Basically, you took our bribes. We will expose that you took our bribes.
Didn't I
unless you do.
didn't I hint about that with the shit with Ukraine?
Yes.
All those months ago, fucking where Biden's we're fucking like the United States is going into the poorhouse. We're going in fucking debt. We're about to cap out and run out of money here shortly. But yeah, we're still sending Ukraine
Yeah,
money.
what was it now? They're saying thousands of banks now could be defaulting, like regional banks, not like huge. Like
my wife has her money in one of those banks, and we're actually moving it next week. Because I was like, no, we're fucking getting our shit out of there. No, because I'm with the credit union because that shit ain't going nowhere. But no, I said this before. I believed Biden was giving money not because he wanted to. I believe because he had no choice.
Right. It's not just that he's being given money now to do something. It's that they're saying, hey, remember that money we gave you 7 years ago, 8 years ago? Yeah, if you don't want that to come out, keep giving it to us. It's all right. I had to teach a lesson on.
I have to bring civics back into school. That'd be great. That needs to be returning to school.
So I had to teach a lesson about internet security to a bunch of kids. And one of the things that we got on the topic of was ransomware. Now, for those that don't know what ransomware is, ransomware usually comes in the form of either an email, a chat, or a phone call where they say, hey, you know, I'll use the Microsoft phone call. That's always hilarious, where they call and say, hey, we got notice of X number of files, you know, virus on your computer. And then they have you sign into one of these VPN or where they log into your computer, virtual machines, and basically take over your computer. Then they load up. They either do one of two things. They either load up a virus on there and ransomware it, or they, if it's like Windows or a Mac at your house, they just go in and lock it. They put a passcode lock on there, password lock that you don't know, and say, hey, if you want into your computer, send us $100 in whatever gift cards, Amazon gift cards. Then you send them $100. And then they come back and say, well, now that you sent 100, we're not going to unlock it. You have to send us 200 more.
Right.
They never give it up. They just keep milking you until you have nothing left, and then drop you like a bad habit, and you never get your stuff back anyway. Side thing real quick here. First off, I hate mortgage companies. And one of the reasons that I hate mortgage companies is that they sell your mortgage to other mortgage companies.
Yeah.
And my mortgage company that we bought our house with
5
years ago, just did that this past year, a couple months ago. No sooner did they sell my mortgage, I make my first payment to the new mortgage. A couple weeks later, I get a registered mail from my mortgage company, my new one, that they were the victims of ransomware on their servers.
Ew.
And that it's possible that they got onto their servers because somebody was able to give them access, because evidently their IT people are fucking stupid. And it's possible, they said, they don't know, that they got my information, and including my payment information, my bank information, my social security number, all of that. And so they're setting me up with like LifeLock or something like that for, you know, all that stuff. And I'm like, really? So, but that's exactly what ransomware is. And that's what they did to Biden. And that's how the mafia works, is they extort you first, you know, you take a bribe from them for something, make a building, something like that. Then as you're running for higher office or you're doing something else, then they extort you further, not by giving you more money, but by saying, hey, would suck if this information that we bribed you got leaked to the public. So give us money or give us this, give us that, and it'll all stay hush hush. And that's where the Bidens are with all of this. It's not just that they're taking bribes, it's that they're being blackmailed on top of it.
That sounds about right. I mean, shit. That has to suck. I mean, but goddamn. And all.
Okay, let's put it more personally. All right. You're a dude or a wife, I guess. Doesn't matter. But you're a dude.
Sure.
And you cheated on your wife. And the woman's husband finds out about it and says, all right, don't ever see my wife, and I want you to pay me so much money. Years down the road, you get a big, you know, maybe you're in the same company. You get a big promotion, and then he comes back and says, hey, remember all them texts that I found about you and my wife? Yeah, I kept them. Would you like your wife to know about that? Now you're sweating bullets and you're trying to figure out, okay, do I give this person what he wants, or do I ruin my marriage or my life over this? Because my wife's going to divorce me. She's going to win the kids. I'm going to be left with no money at all then if this all comes out. That's what the Biden family is in right now. That's what they're in. It's not just, and they can deny it in public all they want. That's what they're in. At night, when Joe Biden isn't taking his Metamucil and laxatives and everything he needs to go to sleep, the last thought that crosses his mind is not about the country or the economy. It's what's he going to do tomorrow to keep all this shit from coming out.
That's exactly it. I mean, the only thing that we have to figure out is if they would actually charge him, because we all figured out, we've all been learning recently that the FBI, CIA is all in the DNC's pocket. They're controlling the strings on this. The question is, would they even prosecute him? So then, unfortunately, I would have to say it's going to come down to 2024 is the next, because the next Senate Congress race is also at the same time as the presidency in 2024.
Right. We got a third of the Senate going. Is it a third? A third, and a third, right? 6 years.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we have to win back the Senate, keep the House,
and win
get the presidency.
That's a tall order.
If that is able to happen, and we have the majority in the Senate, then we can, and because we'll have the judicial branch back, we can then they can actually probably take the evidence that the House has found, go to the Senate, do what they have to do there, bring up charges through the judicial system, and then arrest him.
Well, and then there's one
it's
other
gonna
layer.
be a process.
There's another, and that is, and this is the layer that Trump had a hard time with the last time draining the swamp, is you have to get rid of all of these people that are already in the department, that are in league.
Absolutely.
It's not just, oh, we control you now, do what we say. It's, they have to like clean house first and bring in all new people.
Oh yeah, all the Democrats and the winos.
Now, as far as Trump, if Trump gets in, because it will be his last, he won't be able to get elected again. I think that would give him more balls to do that, because what are they gonna do? Not elect me again?
Right? Yeah, he's gonna go in and fucking go balls deep. Fucking, he's gonna run out with with his cock out and fucking just.
It's gonna be like his TV show. Hey, you're fired. Hey, you're fired. Like just there's a line coming in. You're
He's gonna
fired.
go
You're
into the House
fired.
of
You're fired.
Representatives. He's gonna go into the house. They're all gonna come in. Hey, all you over there, fuck you, fired.
What TV show
Fuck
is
you,
it?
fired.
New Amsterdam. I just started watching. It's a okay, medical drama. But the very first episode, the guy walks in and he calls the head of all the departments and stuff, and he's like, "All right, cardiothoracic, raise your hands." And they all raise their hands. He goes, "All right, you're all fired. Goodbye."
Oh man. Oh. What needs to happen is the abolishment of the IRS. I'm saying that now. The abolishment of the IRS and the Department of Education need to fucking just go, because it's not needed. We've proven that.
Right.
If we can pass that fair tax bill, that fucking less than 100 pages tax bill that they want to do, where it's the flat tax rate, fuck the IRS, because it's all going to come out anyways.
Right.
Why should we have to do taxes if they know what we did? They just send us the bill.
Right. No, you have to do taxes to prove that we didn't screw up. Are you fucking kidding me?
But the whistleblower is coming out about Hunter Biden's taxes, that he's being given special treatment. And I'm like, I want special fucking treatment.
Well, and you know what I just read?
Bullshit
is
this?
that they might actually take Hunter down for because of the ATF going after him for the gun.
Yeah. So
I just heard that on the way home today.
Yeah, so the one charge with the whistleblower, they have no choice because ATF is holding these strict gun laws. Hunter Biden buying that gun
and then
was
disposing
a
of
felony.
it, and then illegally in a trash can
In a school
across
zone.
from a school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is how kids end up with guns. You got dumb people like that throwing guns in dumpsters.
Right. And then the kid shoots somebody and it gets Hunter Biden.
Completely off topic. We're going to get back to this. There was a child who got a hold of their parents' gun in Virginia, shot their teacher. The teacher was going to sue. They're like dropping the lawsuit because workplace accident.
Oh, God.
I heard that and I said, excuse me? Workplace accident? My ass. They're blaming it on the kid had ADHD. That is why he got a hold of the gun. I mean, and the parents going to jail too for child endangerment, leaving a loaded weapon for a minor to get a hold of. The kid probably doesn't even understand what he did. One. And the school's reaction to it was fucking dumbfounding. But damned if you don't.
Right.
All right, let's finish this up. Because goddamn.
Country by the Bidens.
That's what I'm
All
saying.
right,
Country by the
Jessica.
Bidens now.
I don't know how you're going to respond to that, but it does show that Biden lied about the Chinese. There was no Chinese involvement, and there was millions there. So
No China
I think you're in
connection.
quite a pickle if you're going to try to defend this crime family. It's a Biden crime family.
Got him by the Bidens is good.
Yes.
So it was, it was more exciting, I guess, than your average James Comer interview. You know, he got to a lot of people instead of, just being interviewed by Ducey and Kilmeade in the morning and then pressing him. And he was saying, actually, I don't even have anything. And I know last night you were like, where are the goods? Then at 9 o'clock, he didn't have the goods. They said, wait for 9 a.m. 9 a.m. he didn't have the goods.
What do you want, Jessica?
I want the goods. I
What are
want
the
the
goods?
Bidens. I
What are
want
the
you to
goods?
show the goods are a straight line from Hunter Biden's business dealings or any of the other 9 that are listed there, where Joe Biden personally enriched himself. And to your point about
Wait. Okay. So
Okay.
let me say something.
No,
if,
let
if,
me
a, if a
actually-
foreign national pays Emma, and Emma spends all of that dirty foreign money on cars
Did
for my
Joe
family,
Biden-
on my child's
Are you saying that?
college fund, how is that any different than what they're doing here?
Okay, so let's try this.
Just
James.
because it didn't hit my personal bank account?
Well, first of all, Joe Biden is not being accused of taking any money here.
Okay,
She's
just,
not involved in
just
this.
both
That was your
brothers
wife.
and his son and his son's wife and his son's ex-wife and his son's girlfriend.
Few things are
and
relevant
his
to your
granddaughters.
point.
Okay, why did the Romanians
But
wire
please stop.
Joe Biden's granddaughter $25,000?
Please, I think the audience deserves to know that actually your points are easily refutable. So first of all,
Did
the
the
New York Times.
granddaughter draw the Romanian real estate tycoon a crayon picture?
So the New York Times looked into the Romanian situation 4 years ago. By the way, these are old stories.
Oh, yeah.
And found no real
Yeah,
fault.
the New York Times said
All
just
right.
do it. I'm
Democrat
good.
line.
I love this.
The New York
That is
Times
such a
said
fucking
it's all good.
Democrat line.
And act like it's not real. The
Okay.
Wall Street Journal, which I think none of
The
us should
same
be
ones that
insulting.
said Trump colluded with Russia.
The Wall Street Journal, is
With
that one
anonymous
okay?
The
sources.
same ones.
Wall Street
Yeah.
Journal in-house looked into the China dealings. No role for Joe Biden. Then the Washington Post 1 year ago.
What do you mean no
looked
role?
into-
Joe
No
flew
role.
Hunter and his business
Don't get me
partner
wrong,
to
I
China
enjoy her
on Air
being on
Force
there
One.
than
They come back
Geraldo.
and all of a sudden he's rich.
Lastly, about your point that the Trumps, they make all these things. I get it. The shoe line. Let's talk about Trump International,
All right, we gotta move
which
on.
was the most popular hotel when Trump was in office, and no one wanted to go
Okay, so
when he
then
was voted
why
out.
did the Romanian
Because-
money dry up after Joe left the White House in 2016?
What?
I
You
feel
think-
like I'm
kinda like
watching
a
an
Clinton
episode of
foundation.
Just like the
Moonlighting.
Clinton Foundation.
Yeah.
Judge, weigh
Oh,
in.
that's
All right.
another good one.
Yeah.
Clinton Foundation.
Let me simplify
What
this.
happened to Vince Foster?
Good
question.
That is a good question.
You
Yeah.
guys.
Tonight at 7.
Let me simplify this for you. This is an organized criminal enterprise.
God.
Yes.
I've done this for 30 years, okay? This is how they do it. What you've got is the hallmarks of corruption, the accounts, the LLCs, the evasion, and the money laundering. The partners come in, collect the foreign money, and then distribute it to an LLC in incremental amounts. Joe Biden is the front man. Hunter Biden is the bag man. Okay? Joe Biden goes into foreign countries lecturing them about anti-corruption, and he is representing the freest, greatest nation on earth, and is wrapping himself in the flag of the United States while his son is collecting the money at the back door. This happened in Romania, and this happened in the Ukraine. Joe Biden uses his position as the vice president of the United States to tell the Ukraine to get the prosecutor off the company where Hunter is a member and making $80,000 a month, or he's going to withhold our taxpayer money $1 million. All right? This is an point man in energy and a point man on anti-corruption, and his son is right behind him with the bags. Now, let's talk about why so many people are involved in receiving the money. So many people are involved because you can't put that money in one account.
Right.
So we got the wife, the daughter, the husband, the sister-in-law. That's why it's worked out that way. And why did Paul Manafort spend years in solitary confinement for being a lobbyist in a foreign country when this guy's been a lobbyist in Ukraine, in Romania, in China? Why is every dime that came out of China connected to the Chinese intelligence or the Chinese Communist Party? And talk about it, the grandkids.
She is
Why
just so
did Louis
powerful.
Freeh, the head of the FBI, give $100,000 to Joe Biden's granddaughter so he could go into business with Hunter to reap the money from the foreign country?
I want to get Dana.
Now, let me say one more thing. I want to say one more thing about this. Nobody's paid taxes on this money. I guarantee it. So you've got corruption, foreign agents, and you've got taxes. They got George Santos, and I don't care about him one way or the other. In a couple of months, they've got him on 13 charges. Hunter Biden can't figure out how to get him on a criminal charge. This is a corrupt family. It's the Biden crime family.
All right.
A great point about the George Santos timeframe.
Yeah.
Compared. So I just think there's just no positive argument for them to make that the president or the vice president or members of his families received millions of dollars from foreign companies.
Mm-hmm.
And if your argument is, well, there's no direct line to Joe Biden's personal bank account, that's your defense?
Yeah.
Come on.
Come on. You can
Come
do
on.
better, Jessica.
I thought you were going to have something else.
Yeah.
I honestly did.
I don't mean
God.
Jessica. I mean, that's coming from the White House counsel office and from their lawyers. I mean, that's what they're saying. That's like, well, there's no direct line to Joe Biden. I'm like, okay, but
In your face.
in your face.
Yeah, in your face.
Oh my
I honestly feel
God.
great
In
about
your
that.
Yeah, that stuff they fly at your little liberal Upper West Side cocktail parties, but not here on
I live
5.
downtown. It's embarrassing that you said that.
Oh my God. Okay, let me close that out. Let me play one more thing just so that people can see. This is actually from Jim Jordan. All right.
Suspicious activity reports. The key word in that phrase is the word suspicious. There are 170 of those reports, many of them put together by the Treasury Department of our government in the Obama-Biden administration. So 170 of those that the committee has reviewed, thousands of pages of bank records the committee has reviewed, and that has told us that there are now multiple, as Mr. Donald just said, multiple LLCs receiving money from foreign entities and paying that money out to multiple members of the Biden family. And the fundamental question is the one Byron just raised. For what? What did they do? What was the business? What service did they provide? What value did they add? What did they do to warrant receipt of the money? That is the fundamental question, and no one seems to have an answer to that fundamental question. But Mr. Comer, Chairman Comer, and the team, that's what we're looking into, trying to get. And I would just say this too, why not just come clean? Why not just be honest with us? Why not tell us the truth? But I would tell you this, I think it's a pattern with this administration. They haven't been square with us, straight with the American people about anything. They tell us the border is secure. We know it isn't. They tell us our debt ceiling bill is going to hurt veterans. No, it doesn't. Joe Biden said during the campaign that the letter from 51 former Intel officials, when he used it in the debate, he portrayed it as if it was organic. And we now know through another investigation that we're all working on that, in fact, it was coordinated. That letter from 51 former Intel officials was coordinated with the Biden campaign. So much so, the Biden campaign told Mike Morrell, here's the journalist we want you to have the story to, the letter to first. Why not just be straight with us? Why not come clean? Why not tell us the truth? Tell the American people the truth. They deserve that from their government. Again, the fundamental question is, what did they do to warrant the receipt of millions and millions of dollars? Why did Joe Biden's brother? Why did Joe Biden's sister-in-law? Why did Joe Biden's son? Why did so many family members get the money? What did they do to warrant receipt of that money? That's the fundamental question. Chairman Comer and the team have done great work, and they're determined to get answers to those fundamental questions.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely.
I mean, I got
there's
nothing
all
else.
those businesses. What the question is, the fuck were they doing? I mean, oh yeah, Trump has businesses, but yet you can take the Trump business line back almost 60 plus years, back to the 70s, back to Trump's father doing the same business, doing similar businesses. Hell, that whole family built most of New York.
Right. Right. And Trump has
There's
Trump
a
towers
tower-
in multiple cities.
There's a tower in New York that has his name across it. There's a tower in Chicago has his
also,
name across
Trump
it.
Tower was in Home Alone 2.
Absolutely. Trump was, yes.
And that was what,
He was an
1992?
actor. Yeah, he was in Home Alone 2. He had The Apprentice. He had a handful of other guest spots and all. But he is a mogul in his own right. So we know where his money's coming from and where it's going.
And, you know, the left likes to bring up that, you know, his daughter, well, she did work with the Chinese government. Also, she was actually making stuff.
Wait, was she in a sweatshop making iPhones?
No, I think she was running a sweatshop making clothes.
Oh.
But, like, there was actually a tangible thing. Nothing of the Bidens did they actually produce or make anything. They're literally just companies saying, oh, this is a company where Hunter Biden is providing legal counsel for $80,000 a month, that he never actually did anything. What the hell is he doing legal counsel in Ukraine or, you know, with a oil company in China?
Who knows?
So, all right. Let's get off
that. We're moving on. All right.
Like literally we spent an hour on that.
Did we? Holy shit. All right. So well, I do want to get to Title 42, but I want to talk about the Marine in New York. Because it is very important. So it is unfortunate what he did what he believed was right.
Right.
So, a former Marine. You got a video playing?
Yeah.
All
This is the actual what happened. So, I'm going to pause it. So the guy there that's held in the chokehold. All right. That's Jordan Neely.
The one that's in the chokehold, yes. The
one
Daniel
that's in the
Petty.
Yep. He was supposed to be in a psych ward. He had multiple warrants out on him. The police had caught him multiple times and never did anything about him. He was harassing and assaulting people on this train. He was assaulting a woman. Petty, what's the Marine's name?
Daniel Penny.
Daniel Penny. Amongst others, you can see there's multiple people there. You know, basically pulled him off and put him in a submission hold. Now, I'm going to tell you, as far as chokeholds go, that is not a tight chokehold. He's got his arm around the front. He's got his arm here, but he's not pulling back on the carotid arteries. He is not there trying to kill the man. All right?
And this comes from a guy who does MMA.
Yeah. All right. So now he goes out. Here is Neely. He's out. You can see his eyes. But
yeah, he's
going
in
to
night
sleep.
land.
Yeah, he's going to sleep right now. All right. Penny right there. He's still fighting because he's feeling him moving. He doesn't know that he's out yet. All right. Now keep watching. Mind you, this whole video is 50 seconds. All right. He feels it. He's fighting. Now, watch. They have it blurred out for some reason, but you can see right here is Neely's legs. And here's Penny now. Penny is over top of him. He laid him on his side. We call that the recovery position to make sure you don't throw up or anything like that.
Choke on your own vomit. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Now, you're going to see he's going to lift his leg up to support him. Right
to
there.
help get blood flow to go back from the bottom of his foot back, going up through the back leg and to get to the spine to get blood flowing.
Now, there's a few differences, you know, that I do in jiu-jitsu and in MMA when someone goes out, and I've gone out. Trust me, I've gone out. A lot of times you actually start snoring, which is a weird thing. I don't snore when I sleep, but I snore when I go to sleep from a chokehold.
Knock the fuck out.
And I've done it to other people. And normally what I do is I actually sit them up on sit them on their butts so that if they're going to throw up, they're going to throw up forward. And then I start patting them on the back, which that helps kind of revive them. But he still was taking care of him. All right. Now he's been picked up for manslaughter because Neely died.
So I think in New York they actually banned the chokehold.
They did. For police officers. So they originally banned what's known as the shoulder pinch a number of years ago, which again, MMA, it's similar to the arm triangle.
Okay.
And then they banned a chokehold when you're pulling somebody off. The hard part with banning a chokehold is when you're pulling somebody, you only have certain body parts that are extremities to pull. So if somebody's got their arms tucked in or they're holding somebody, what's an extremity you can pull? Their head.
Arm.
That's
Yeah.
basically it. You can't pull their arm, they're holding. So it really limits what police officers can do. Now, for me, the nice thing is I never got into that because of my wrestling background, that I naturally used wrestling maneuvers like sliding my arm in for a half Nelson and a chicken wing. That. But that's stuff that I have years and years and years of practice with that it comes naturally to me. This Marine was taught Marine tactics for taking control of people.
Absolutely. He was subduing a situation. One, he did it without causing a huge scene. He was basically holding him in place.
Right.
But what has happened, it's twisted. So Alan Bragg is the DA, and we all know who Alan Bragg is. Recently, he's the one going after Donald Trump. If you haven't looked at Alan Bragg's record, he just acquitted. He just cleared 5 people of murder without going to trial. He just dropped all charges and let them go during the Trump indictment. So, and now all of a sudden, white man, they're claiming they're doing this by race, and this is what's disgusting about this. They're taking this as a man helping people on the subway that were being accosted by another man who was mentally losing his mind.
Yes, like completely losing his mind.
Because he was already talking about suicide on the train. Because all the eyewitnesses were talking about, like, oh, I'll go out. I'm not blah, blah, blah. And instead of obliging, he was subduing him until they get to the next stop. Because if you have never been on a subway before, you're on the track for a while from one stop to another.
Right.
So that was the whole issue. So he was making sure he got to the next stop without having to worry about more of a fight. I'm going to play Joy Reid from MSNBC. And this is how how people are taking this so racially motivated. It's not a racial thing. It's a human thing. And I will honestly say, they're going after him for manslaughter. Honestly, a jury of his peers, I would like to say, are going to fucking let him go. Because it's...
You would like to. This is New York.
I would like to say that, but it is New York.
Right.
Let's... God, I can't stand her sometimes. Just looking at her.
Ugh.
Daniel Penny, the 24-year-old former Marine who held the homeless black man in a deadly chokehold on a Manhattan subway train, for 15 full minutes, will be arrested on charges of second-degree manslaughter. He's expected to turn himself in as soon as tomorrow. Since Neely's death nearly 2 weeks ago, protests have been ongoing across New York City as demonstrators demand justice for Jordan. And joining me now is Paul Butler, former federal prosecutor, law professor at Georgetown University, and MSNBC legal analyst. And Paul, I guess my first obvious question is, are you surprised that there will be a prosecution and that it took this long?
It should not have taken this long. So under the law, in order to be guilty of second-degree manslaughter, you have to recklessly endanger someone's life. That is to commit an act knowing that you're putting someone's life in jeopardy. Joy, the whole world has seen Mr. Penny choke Mr. Feely to death on videotape. So I don't know why it took so long. Yes, DA Bragg had to look at the videotape. He had to do witness interviews, the medical examiner report, which says that Mr. Neely died of homicide, and listen to the 911 calls. I don't know why that took 2 weeks.
Let me read the two statements. So the law firm representing Daniel Penny put out this statement saying Mr. Neely had a documented history of violent and erratic behavior, the apparent result of ongoing and untreated mental illness. When Mr. Neely began aggressively threatening Daniel Penny and the other passengers, Daniel, with the help of others, acted to protect themselves until help arrived. Daniel never intended to harm Mr. Neely and could not have foreseen his untimely death. For too long, those suffering from mental illness have been treated with indifference. Well, that's an odd statement. That's from the law firm representing Daniel Penny. Your thoughts?
On the video, you can see a passenger warn Mr. Penny about the danger of putting Mr. Neely in a chokehold. The passenger literally says, you could pick up a murder charge for this. So it was entirely foreseeable that if you put your hands on someone's neck for minutes, that person is at risk of losing his life, which is exactly what happened.
And the reality is for 15 minutes, you're holding somebody. Even the NYPD are prohibited legally from doing what this man did. He's a civilian. This is the Neely family statement. It is clear he is the one who acted with indifference, the now arrested man. By the time he killed Jordan, and now in his first public message, he never attempted to help him at all. In short, his actions on the train and now his words show why he needs to be in prison. And that is Dante Mills and Lennon Edwards, who represent the Neely family, talking about Daniel Penny.
Based on all of the evidence that we've seen, Mr. Penny had no business putting his hands on Mr. Neely's neck. He may have thought that Mr. Neely was acting unruly. He may have been afraid even for himself or others, but that does not give him a legal entitlement to act as judge, jury, and executioner.
I hate that fucking line.
Oh my God. I only played it because it was their side of the story on this. And it,
you know, whenever they say act as judge, jury, and executioner, they make it sound like he, you know, went out to the guy's house and murdered him in his front lawn.
Right.
You know, no. All right. Yeah, it sucks that this happened. Life sucks. All right. I would hope that if something ever happened to me and somehow, you know, I completely became unhinged, that whoever has to hold me down, this doesn't happen. But if this does happen, it's not on the person that has to subdue me to protect himself and other people. It's on me for putting them in that position to have to do that. They don't carry the tools that police officers use. They don't carry tasers. In fact, in New York, you can't without a special permit. It's not like in Michigan where if you have a CPL, you can carry a firearm or you can carry a taser. It's not like that. It's that he had to do something. He fell back to his training. His training was, I need to subdue him. And according to them, if it took 15 minutes, I can tell you right now, this is called the rear naked choke. Yeah. Naked being that you're not grabbing the clothes and choking them from their clothes. You're choking them with your arms, so it's naked. It's not using. I can tell you from experience that if I wanted to make you pass out, if I wanted to kill you, it would be done in less than 30 seconds.
Absolutely.
Many times I can make a person pass out in less than 10 seconds because you're cutting the blood off to their brain. if he was holding them there for 15 minutes, he was not applying pressure any more than he had to for the fact that the guy was rolling around and he was trying to keep him under control.
You're not wrong. I mean,
but
what happened?
the left is out for blood, and Al Sharpton and his cronies are out for blood anytime that happens. If this guy that this happened to was a different color, there would have been no prosecution. There would have been no nothing.
Oh no! If it was the other way around, if it was a white guy getting choked out by a black guy, it would not. No one be up in arms. No one would be fucking. They'd
No.
be looking. Oh, his mental health. I mean, it is a and again, I've said this with guns. It's not a gun issue. It's a mental health. Mental health since the pandemic has been shown more outraged because you're seeing it more because people have been locked in. We all got subdued by the federal government by telling us to stay home.
Right.
And because of that, people not having that social access, and now they've been away for so long, and now they're coming back to it. It's not working, and then people are just it's going out. And I'm sorry, Jordan Neely has. I'm not just because he has a criminal record. I'm not because he has a criminal record. I'm only looking at it because, like, look, he has habits.
It
that
is
are
not
falling in
just
line.
his criminal record. He was told by a judge to be in a treatment facility that he left.
Yes, he's supposed to be.
He was supposed to be under watch.
He's supposed to be under watch, and he's supposed to be on his medication. He was off his meds.
And, you know, they keep showing him, oh, he likes to dance in the street like Michael Jackson. That's no different than what was it in 2013, the Brown, the Ferguson riots, what's his name that the police officer was acquitted of. They kept showing him with his graduation picture. They weren't showing the monster that was reaching in, trying to beat this cop and take his firearm. But that's the left, that's the media. Now, what are the future ramifications of all this? Who is going to want to stop and help when something like this happens?
No one.
Like, I have training. I know that I can help in a situation like that and that I could potentially save other people's lives. But is it worth taking the chance? Especially if they're a different color than me. Is it worth that? This
As
has
long as they're
nothing
not-
to do.
If they're not doing anything to you, I guess I'd say leave it alone.
You know, that's the thing. Oh, they're raping that woman. He's raping that woman over there. But you know what? If I did something to him and he happens to die from it, he's not at fault anymore. Now I'm at fault. That's what this stuff does.
It's redirecting blame where it should be at. I hope Daniel is acquitted. That is my opinion. But this is going to be to the point to where the criminals are going to run the yard in New York City. The cops aren't going to do anything. People can't do anything.
The
We're in New
prosecutor
York
doesn't
City.
prosecute actual criminals.
No. So I would say if you live in New York and you have any say in your life, I'd leave.
Yeah, get out.
Get out of the city. Go to like upper New York.
Even then, I wouldn't. I don't know. I New York State, I don't even trust.
Or go somewhere else. I mean, fuck New York.
Go to Florida if.
Well,
you know.
what? They want to send all the immigrants there anyways that are coming over the border. Send fucking it's gonna. What's that movie?
Escape from
Sylvester
New York?
Stallone.
Oh, Judge Dredd?
No. It's like they
Over the
make-
top.
No. I can't. I don't know if he's in it or not. I'm thinking. I think
Tootsie.
I have like more than one movie in my head. It's where
It's
they
not Tootsie.
make- no, where they put New York basically as a prison itself. They put walls up
That's Escape from New York.
Yeah, it is.
It didn't have Sylvester Stallone. It was a John Carpenter film.
John Carpenter, yeah. Sorry.
John Carpenter made it, and it was Snake Plissken. But it wasn't Sylvester Stallone. But that's the thing. And I still say for Detroit, they should do something like that, or actually just tell everyone to leave. We're bombing the whole city and starting over. Like, let's format it like a computer. Let's just reformat it.
Think if The Purge ever actually went live. Oh man, would you participate in The Purge?
No, I'd be the people defending their house from anybody that steps foot on my land.
I have a couple people in mind that I would, if The Purge was ever to do, I would participate. If not, I
can't because there's still human morals. Laws do not make morals.
True.
There's still human morals. And just because a law says you can do something,
Doesn't
the
mean you
law,
should do it.
yeah, the law says in many states now that you can murder a baby in utero, but that does not morally make it correct.
No, not at all. All right. So we have two topics left. We can end on. You want to end on? We'll do Title 42. Title 42 just ended. Title 42 ended yesterday, actually 23 hours ago. It ended at 10 o'clock Eastern time on May 11th. Now Title 8's in place. Title 8 states that if you come from another country and you have not sought asylum in the previous countries that you have passed through, you will be arrested and barred from entering the United States, I think, up to 5 years.
5 years.
But
that's also assuming that they're going to enforce that. They're talking about using cell phone apps, to track people, because basically with Title 8, they're saying, we're just going to let you through. And if we find you and you're not checking in with us and we can't find, then we're just deporting. Well, they're still letting people through.
Absolutely. So
right down to the point of, let me find this, that the now Texas National Guard is right here. I wish I could make this full screen, but I can't. The Texas National Guard is putting up razor wire.
They should have. They should have done that long ago. Long time ago.
On the border, the National Guard. Like, that's what you do in war zones when you need a barrier. Man, if only there was something that would have been right there as a barrier to stop them so they wouldn't have to put up razor wire.
I heard a politician was saying all the parts for the wall are still sitting there in the desert, and we're paying contractors to sit there and babysit it. The states need to come in and claim it, buy it back, and then put it up.
But
put the wall up.
But that's not supposed to be on the states.
It's not, but it looks like it's
immigration
gonna...
and border is a federal issue.
And Texas needs more of a fucking wall than any other goddamn state. And most of the farmers...
You have governors, Democrat governors, that are now having state of emergencies because of this.
Yeah, because their towns are being overrun. Hell, what? Texas sent another bus to Kamala Harris's home.
Yes,
right before Title 42 ended.
Yep, on
another
Thursday,
full bus.
yesterday. Yep, right to her doorsteps.
To our fucking doorstep. The fucking border czar. My
Here,
thing
let me
is,
show
where
some
the
pictures
fuck
of this.
has she
This is-
been? She hasn't done shit.
No. Look at this. Dismiss this. This is from New York Post. Look at this right here. They're coming right off onto her doorstep right there. There's the border czar. There's more people. They're just right there, right in D.C. And the D.C. Department of Human Services announced that they've reached capacity for
Absolutely.
immigrants. Are you kidding me? Like these border towns that have like 3,000 people are getting influxes of 30 to 50,000 immigrants a year, a month, whatever it is. Like they have more illegal immigrants there than they have actual people living there.
Absolutely.
Now, Title 42, I'm going to say this right now. We knew that it was going to be a temporary thing right from
Absolutely.
the get-go because the only reason it was able to go through it at all was because of COVID. So it was a stopgap that Trump basically put in so that, hey, when I have more time and I can come up with a better plan or we can get the wall finished, then it'll retire. And
I'm assuming that's probably what it was going to be for, because assuming that he had won his second part of the election, that he was going to have the wall finished, and that he would have had a better idea
of what
for
to do.
immigration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's like, okay, if you have basically you have a big leak at our southern border. If you have a tub, all right, you have a vat of liquid and it's got a leak in there and it's got a bunch of leaks. You don't try figuring out what to do with the liquid as it comes out. First, you stop the leaks and then you figure out what to do with the liquid. And that's exactly what it is. I come up with these analogies right in my head. It almost sounds
I figured that as much.
it almost sounds intelligent.
Is it like Flex Seal?
Yes, we need Flex Seal down at the southern border. Big giant roll of Flex Seal. Let's call it like as seen on TV. Let's call up the as seen on TV people.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Flex tape, not Flex Seal. Flex Seal is a spray.
Yeah. Flex
We need Flex tape. Ryan's head is exploding right now.
My head just died. It's eventually our country's going to implode. We're running out of money.
We keep
and
getting
everyone's
closer
like-
and closer to this recession.
And everyone, like, I've thought too, they're like, oh yeah, get away to just kill how America grew up as immigrants. I said, no. Yes, our country is originally made of immigrants. Absolutely. But we have a process for those immigrants. We've always had a process for
My
immigrants.
grandparents, well, my great grandparents, both sides came through Ellis Island.
My family came over during the Louisiana Purchase. So they were here from France. They came over with France at that time and settled in Louisiana. So when Napoleon sold the Louisiana territory back to the United States, they were all just, oh, you're all now U.S. citizens.
Well, you want to
Merry
hear
Christmas.
something funny about them talking about them busing immigrants into Chicago and Kamala Harris's doorstep and all this stuff? and
Yeah, well-
how awful that is and all that stuff. My great-grandparents got bused from Ellis Island to Detroit because they were Hungarian, and that's where Hungarians went.
Yep.
because Hungarians, they considered them back then as dark, dumb, and dirty.
So my dad's side of the family was Italian. My mom's side is Hungarian, and then my grandfather. So my grandmother was in New York, and my grandfather was in Louisiana, and they met in Maryland.
There is a huge Hungarian town in Detroit because
of all the Hungarians,
the Hungarians that were shipped over.
I love Hungarian food.
That were shipped over from Ellis Island. Yep. Huge.
I love Hungarian food. We were talking about food today at work. Someone was talking about biscuits and gravy, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I remember making. I know how to make handmade biscuits and gravy." I grew up somewhat in Tennessee, and I was taught Southern cooking and flavor and seasonings and how to use a cast iron correctly. And everyone's like, we're coming over to your house. It's like, fuck you, I don't share, but I'll let you have some sweet tea. And they're
I'll
like,
let you have sweet tea.
and they're like, oh, someone made the comment, oh, you're white, you don't know sweet tea. I said, bitch. I said, when I make sweet tea, my wife looks at me and she goes, how much sugar do you put in? I said, I put in as much until the ancestors tell me to stop. She looked at me and she goes, what? I said, I will have, I was like, I may die of many things, but diabetes will be in my bloodstream eventually.
I may die of many things, but the comorbidity will be diabetes.
Yes, absolutely. But all right, so this is episode 73. I'd like to thank everyone coming out. I saw a whole bunch of people come in through Rumble that were watching. Hang out in the chat. Talk in the chat next time, please. I'll conversate. I promise. I'll even bring your comments up in the conversation if you want to bring in your point.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk to us live. We'd be happy to bring your comments
Jason
up.
is not here next week. He's at a Comic-Con. I will be here next week. I have a guest coming on. Drew Kohler will be joining us again. We have a couple topics he wanted to talk about. So I was going to say that for them, and I forgot Jason wasn't going to be here. So it will be just me and him, and I'm going to make Jason edit. Because that's how I roll. But what we learned this week is that Joe Biden has family members that takes money, but he's not linked to it. Bullshit. You can't do a chokehold in New York to save other people's lives. Okay. And we're about to we're now starting to kick away immigrants, and now they're probably gonna turn that into racism somehow. I could see it.
Yeah. It will
but we'll all have to remember, we can only support until we can get our own country together. We should not take anybody else in.
You know, the old adage, I don't know if it's in the Bible. I'm going to look it up. But basically, you help and you give to other people, but you don't destroy your own life doing it. Basically, if you cannot support yourself, you cannot support somebody else. So, all right, with that, I'll see you guys.
Good night. This is Fire Talk Radio Podcast, and you can check us out on firetalkradio.com. You can email us at firetalknetwork@gmail.com. You can send us a voicemail at 814-380-9820. You can always check us out live on YouTube and Rumble. Hit the like and subscribe button to find out when we go live, and subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting streaming platform.
We can only count to four. 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 Numbers, lots of numbers.
Hey, for those of you watching, this just came in. This is from my son. He texted it to me, a video that he thought we should play. I guess a brawl broke out between Ukrainian and Russian diplomats.
That's awesome.
I got to play this.
Between Ukrainian and Russian diplomats at the PABSEC conference. It started when a Russian diplomat ripped the Ukrainian flag out of a Ukrainian diplomat's hand. The Ukrainian diplomat then punched him out and put him in a chokehold before ripping the flag out of his hand. And in many ways, it's the perfect metaphor for Russia. Like most any bully, once you hit them back, they crumble to pieces. Follow to stay in the loop. A brawl broke out today between Ukrainian and Russian diplomats at the PABSEC conference. It started when a Russian diplomat ripped the Ukrainian flag out of a Ukrainian diplomat's hand. The Ukrainian diplomat then punched him out and put him in a chokehold before ripping the flag out of his hand. And in many ways, it's the perfect metaphor for Russia. Like most any bully, once you hit them back, they crumble to pieces. Follow to stay in the loop.
All right. I have to say that is, I'm proud of my son for the stuff that he's watching.